Welcome back. Are you sitting there thinking, should I authenticate this birth certificate? Let me break this all the way down from the root, and I can show you why that's not a good idea. Make sure you share this out so that other people don't fall for the trap of this nonsense. Let's dive in. Here we have Rule 220 from the Minnesota Court Rules, General Rules of Practice. This is the root of the administrative process. This is what they're going to tell you got to do in order to authenticate the birth certificate and to be the owner and to get inside this estate and get all the funds in the bag. Let's dive in because they're not reading it correctly. Here we go. Rule 220, birth certificates. The Register of Titles. Wait, who is the Register of Titles? According to Minnesota Rule 220, the Register of Titles refers to a court official authorized to receive and register official birth certificates as memorials on a certificate of title. So, this is telling you that the certificate of title is not the birth certificate. The birth certificate, when you register it in this capacity, is only as a memorial. Now, what's a memorial? In law, a memorial is a written document that summarizes information about a case. You got a case? Are you trying to do this for a case? And presents it to a government or a legislator. It's often used in conjunction with a petition, and the petition itself may be referred to as a memorial. Did they say anything about authenticating? No. This memorial is just a written document that summarizes information on a case. This has nothing to do with what they're talking about. Let's go back. So a memorial is just a written document summarizing information about a case. They told you from the horse's mouth. All right, now let's keep reading. Essentially, allowing them to treat a registered owner as having reached the age of majority based on the birth date listed on the certificate. This function can be performed by a judge of the court or person designated by the court to act as the registrar. So what this is telling me is that Rule 220 is only about registering the birth certificate as a memorial for a certificate of title. They just want to make sure you're over 18. It doesn't make you the owner. Did anywhere in this say authenticating the birth certificate, ownership, becoming a secure party creditor, or administrative process? No. It's basically just letting you know that you must have a certificate of title. You must own some property. And they want to make sure that one of the owners is actually above the age of 18, because when you own property like that, you are seen as being in the age of majority. That's why I keep talking about purchasing land, y'all. Now let's go back to Rule 220 and read it properly. So now we know what we know. We're going to read it again, and we're going to see what they're actually saying. Here we go. The Register of Titles, a court officer who's authorized to receive birth certificates and register them as memorials, is authorized to receive for registration of memorials upon any outstanding certificate of title, an official birth certificate. See, what happens is they tell you, hey, when you read this, an outstanding certificate of title, an official birth certificate, as if they're saying the official birth certificate is the outstanding certificate of title, and it is not. If it was that, they would have put a comma after title and a comma after certificate, but they didn't. So it reads like this. The Register of Title, we know who that is authorized to receive for registration of memorials, so they're only talking about memorials, upon any outstanding certificate of title, property to land, right? The titles to land, your automobile title, things like that. An official birth certificate, so it just runs on because the memorial is the official birth certificate. That's what you're doing this for, is to make the birth certificate a memorial. It doesn't mean that it's the outstanding certificate of title. So again, the Registrar of Titles is authorized to receive for registration of memorials upon any outstanding certificate of title an official birth certificate pertaining to a registered owner named in said certificate of title showing the date of birth, want to make sure you're of age, of said registered owner, whoever owns the property, automobile, land, or whatever, providing there is attached to said birth certificate an affidavit of an affiant who states that she is familiar with the facts recited. What are the facts recited? Your date of birth, the information on the birth certificate, and you being the owner of that particular property. Let's keep reading. Right? Stating that the party named in said birth certificate is the same party as one of the owners named in said certificate of title. They're telling you that there could be more than one owner. And why would you register something if you're already the registered owner? Come on, y'all. Because we know Regis and register means the crown, as the crown still owns the United States corporation, not the land or its people. We're free already. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Register, intransitive verb, to enter in an official register. So they're recording everything you do. 2, to enroll officially or formally, especially in order to vote or attend classes. You got to be a citizen to vote, and you know what they're doing in these schools or these schools. They're giving you education versus erudition. Look that up. Next, to set down in writing. See, you think you're just sitting down and writing and recording, but it's a lot more than that. You're creating contracts with them. And why don't you sit down and register all of your stuff in your own trust? Nobody told you you couldn't. Actually, it's protected. Article 1, Section 10. All right, let's go a little deeper. Regis, a given name. Regis is a male given name, like Regis Philbin, right? Okay. Medieval context. In medieval England, Curia Regis referred to a small permanent council composed of officers of the royal household serving as members of the Great Council. Now check this one out. Familiares Regis. During medieval times, familiares Regis were people who worked in the king's household, including 6 clerks of chancery in England responsible for serving the king and his family. You're citizens, you're subjects to the crown. You're working for them. Why don't you work for yourself? You can read the rest later. So to wrap it up, it will not be in your best interest to do the administrative process or to authenticate a birth certificate. We just read that Rule 220 doesn't pertain to any of that. Stop listening to these people trying to confuse you and make you do something to get you into further contracts. Come on, y'all. So I hope this helped. And until next time, Sacre Corporis.